Three True Unnerving New House Horror Stories, Volume 3 by Whispered Diaries. What's good? How your day going? How your morning, your evening, your night, whenever you're watching this video? I ain't about to talk your ears off. We about to go ahead and jump right into this mug because, dog, these new house horror stories are creepy AF. Real quick, just kick a little bit of ish, dog. You know what tripped me out the most in these stories? Let's say when someone get a new home, been there for a little bit, whatever, then they find like a secret room. Those ones, it's like I don't know, rather take it for something dope or something scary. As long as it's no one in there, just a room, might look a little creepy, you can fix it up, I'll take that. But the ones when people be in the mugs, nah, I'm good, dog. Either way it go, let's go and jump to this video. Hey, you wanna check out the original? The link will be in the description below, but let's go. Story 1, PA.
As a fairly young adult, I had just purchased my first home. It was a small house on the outside of town, and I hoped to do some renovations over the years and then sell it for a profit. I was also just excited to have my own space for once. The previous owner had left the house completely empty, with no furniture or personal belongings left behind. I was moving from a one-bedroom apartment, so I had barely enough things to even fill a single room. I was able to complete the whole move in half a day though.
Hey, that's cool.
In the end, the house still looked really empty, which I knew it would, but it was kind of weird to live in a somewhat empty house. The first night was good, but I had some trouble sleeping due to some noises the house was making. It was a pretty old place, being nearly 70 years old. It had a few renovations done, but the frame was probably just creaky and weak. That morning, I stayed in the house all day, unboxing everything and setting a few things up, like the TV and all of my kitchen appliances. By 8 p.m., I felt the relief of doing everything I needed to do for the day, and I sat back and turned on a movie. A few minutes into the movie, a large thump vibrated the ceiling, like something heavy had dropped on the floor above me. It caught me off guard, making me flinch. I had no idea of anything heavy that could have fallen. I went upstairs and took a look around, but the few things I had in the rooms were just as they had been when I set them up. It was such a loud sound though. I mean, I even felt it vibrate the house, so I knew it happened, but I had no idea what it came from. I double-checked everywhere on the second floor, and even the first floor, but I came up short again. I went back to the movie, but the sound still lingered in my mind, and even made me wonder if there was some sort of major problem with the house that I didn't know about.
Or make you wonder somebody living in that mug. You think about that, but you don't want to think about that for too long. Like, hell no, that ain't the case. The house just old, it's creaking.
And even made me wonder if there was some sort of major problem with the house that I didn't know about. Once the movie was over, I shut everything off and dragged myself to bed. When I woke up though, I was confused. It was the middle of the night, and there was a rhythmic creaking noise coming from the hallway. I got up and went to my bedroom door, still hearing the creaking. Right when I opened the door, my heart stopped. The attic door was hanging down, swinging back and forth as if it had just been opened, and there was a ladder coming down from it.
It probably just fell because it's an old house. You be telling yourself everything. Hey, this is wild.
It had just been opened, and there was a ladder coming down from it. I ran past it, going downstairs to call 911, but not even halfway down the steps, I hear someone start running across the floor.
Oh, no.
I froze in place as they opened the back door and ran away. I quickly went down and locked it behind them, then called 911. While I waited for the cops to show up, I checked the rest of the house just to be safe. I climbed the old ladder up to the attic, seeing a surprising amount of things. Furniture, boxes, trash, all looking really old. When the cops got there, they said it was most likely someone living in my house while it was vacant. They assured me that they were probably gone for good, but to just make sure everything stays locked up for a while. Whoever was living in my house hasn't come back, but there's always this terrifying feeling I get every time I come home from work, like someone could be hiding in my house right now without me even knowing.
That would be trippy to think about, though. Because even though you saw Doggy Bone dip out, it's like, man, what if it's another one? What if he felt like, yo, this was my home? Like, I was here first. Keep coming back. I don't know. Better get your ass. A gun and a dog and a stick. Riding with that dog and a stick. All right, stop.
Before we get into this next story,
I'm gonna leave all the links in the description below just in case you want shot with Doggy Bone. I already got the mugs going for the low. Stop playing so much.
Strongly suggest
there we go.
everyone to try it out
for real.
and keep your identity secure. This happened to me a couple years ago, after I just rented and moved into a new house. The first week went by quick with no issues at all. I unpacked, bought some new furniture, and got everything set up the way I wanted. The main reason I moved there was because I got a work from home job, so having a quiet place to work was important. This house was far from others and gave me a peaceful work environment. One morning, after making breakfast and sitting down to work, I got a knock at the front door. I walked over and answered it.
Just open that mug.
It was my landlord. He was smiling and asked me how I was doing.
Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you.
I said, still unsure why he was here. He tried to make small talk for a minute before saying he was just checking in on me, and then he left. I went back to work, but that was definitely weird. I didn't mind him being friendly, but he could have just texted me instead of randomly dropping by the house. The rest of the day went by, and I'd forgotten about it. After dinner, I went for a walk around my street. My neighbors' houses were well spread out, so I never actually got a chance to see the other houses in the neighborhood. I walked for maybe half an hour, then turned back. As I rounded the corner toward my house, I saw a car parked on the side of the street. It wasn't directly in front of my house, but there weren't any other houses nearby. When I walked up and passed it, I realized it was the same car my landlord had in the driveway when he was showing me the house.
Doggy Bone,
but
weird.
there was nobody in the car. I hurried up the driveway and went inside. I looked out the windows, trying to see if he was in the yard or something.
Or he trying to see if I found something he probably hid in that mug. That's just what I'm thinking, but...
But I didn't see him. I wasn't scared really, but just uncomfortable and weirded out by the situation. I had just walked around the whole neighborhood, so I didn't know where else he could even be other than the house. After a while, I stopped looking because I wasn't seeing anything. Another hour or so went by until a knock came from the front door. Looking out the peephole, I saw it was my landlord again. I sighed in annoyance and opened the door. He was smiling again, asking how I was doing.
Nigga, what the...
Yeah, I'm still good, thanks. Can you just make sure to let me know when you plan on dropping by next time, though?
I said politely, trying not to be rude. He apologized and said he just wanted to make sure I was happy with the place. I smiled and said I had to get back to work, then shut the door. Something about that interaction, the way he talked and the way he looked at me, was just really creepy. Obviously the guy didn't understand social cues, but I don't know, he just rubbed me the wrong way. I went to bed that night, thinking of the best way to tell him I want to be left alone. He was my landlord, and this was technically his house.
I don't give a
rules
fuck.
They have to follow when renting it out.
There is. But...
I fell asleep, still unsure of what to do, but I was woken up not long after.
Doggy Bone.
It was well past midnight, when a knock at my door forced me up. I turned on the lights and went downstairs, the whole time thinking that if it was the landlord again, I would be furious. I checked out the peephole, and sure enough, it was him again. I swung open the door.
I know, fuck you all.
What are you doing here? You can't be here right now. You need to leave.
I said strictly, barely holding back my anger. That's when I saw he was holding a duffel bag. He explained that there was an immediate repair he needed to do on the pipes in the basement. He said he had an alarm hooked up on his phone that went off saying there was a minor gas leak. None of the alarms actually went off in the house though, so this was really suspicious. I told him I'd just call someone in the morning and went to close the door when he suddenly forced his body inside, pretending to not notice I was closing the door. I just stood there now, not knowing what to say or do.
This is
He looked
wild.
at me fully in my house and smiled.
It'll only take a minute.
He put down the duffel bag and asked me to follow him so he could show me the problem with the pipe. He opened the basement door and started walking down, and I hesitantly followed down a few steps before I thought of something.
Hold on. I'm gonna go get my phone so I can take pictures of it. I'll be right back.
I said, hurrying back up the steps. Thankfully, he stayed. I rushed to my room and got my phone and keys, then went to the front door. But before I left, I quickly went over to the duffel bag and opened it just to make sure I wasn't wrong.
No, of course you're not wrong.
Inside the bag, there were no tools. At least, not normal ones. I didn't know what they were, and I didn't have time to figure it out. I heard him coming back up as I rushed out of the house and into my car, driving away. I called the police as I drove to a parking lot nearby. What happened after this still bothers me every day. My landlord was still there when they showed up. However, the duffel bag he came with was not. They never found it. Through everything, all that ended up happening was I was able to move out without having to pay the fee of breaking the lease. Him showing up randomly and being creepy, or even inviting himself in, wasn't enough to do anything. I of course took the deal though, moving out right away.
Yeah, I would've too. Shit, I'm out of there, dog.
In the back of my mind, I know he's out there, probably doing whatever he was going to do to me, to someone else.
I was just thinking
And
that, like,
there's nothing.
cause I ain't gonna lie, hold on, I'm getting cold, dog. I was thinking that right at that moment. Like, I wonder how many times had this nigga done this.
Probably doing whatever he was going to do to me, to someone else.
This
And
nigga
there's
cold up
nothing
here, boy.
I can do about it.
Anonymous.
I moved out of the city in June of 2022. There weren't a lot of options for places to rent, but I was still able to get something decent. I did all of the moving myself with a U-Haul, taking up my whole weekend, but it was worth it. Being in a crowded city apartment was not enjoyable, and I just wanted to have a whole house to myself that wasn't crammed together with a bunch of other people. On the first night staying there, some strange things started happening though. I was unboxing the containers in my bedroom when I heard my phone get a notification from downstairs. I walked down and picked my phone up from the kitchen counter. A text appeared, welcoming me to the neighborhood. It was from a random number. I hadn't met any of the neighbors yet, and I had my landlord's number saved in my phone already, so this was kind of freaky. I didn't respond, and instead just continued unboxing.
I think I'd have called that one, dog. I ain't gonna lie to you. That one would have tripped me out, man.
And instead
I
just
need to
continued
know.
unboxing. When I was done with my room, I went back downstairs and started on the living room. I put together the TV stand and finished connecting the couch. I wasn't trying to get everything done in one day, but I did want to get all of the essentials done so I could enjoy the house a bit more. The last thing I needed to get done for the night were the bathrooms. I picked up the box and unpacked some things in the downstairs bathroom, then went upstairs to my bathroom. While organizing my stuff, I heard my phone get another notification. I was kind of annoyed, figuring it was that same unknown neighbor of mine.
Yeah, this one trippy, dog.
I organized for another minute, then went downstairs. I walked over to the counter, and then to the couch, but my phone wasn't there. I looked around, but still couldn't find it. I swore I left it on the counter, but I was tired and thought I had to have misplaced it. I checked all of the bathrooms, but came up empty-handed. I splashed some water on my face to wake me up, then figured it would turn up soon anyway, and just continued to organize my bathroom. I had taken the whole week off of work, so I wasn't worried about staying up late or sleeping in too much. I wanted to get done as much as possible before I went back to work though, because I knew I'd be too tired to do much after that. Once I finished organizing the bathroom, I gathered up all the empty boxes upstairs and brought them down to the garage. As I came back inside, I stopped in my tracks. Across the room, I saw my phone. It was sitting right on the counter in plain sight, impossible to miss. My head was spinning. I walked over and picked it up. There was a text from 10 minutes ago. It was a picture of my couch, taken from inside the living room. The couch was fully put together, so this had to have been taken right after I went upstairs. I quickly turned around, scanning the room. I opened every closet and checked behind everything. The house was still...
But hold up, because he said this was recent, right? I don't know, not a soul whose phone is unlocked, but maybe they know the code.
Every closet and checked behind everything.
No, because you can take pictures while your shit locked, though. You can, so never mind.
I opened every closet and checked behind everything. The house was still mostly empty, so there wasn't anywhere to hide. I was freaking out, questioning everything. At one point, I even walked over and stood exactly where the picture was taken, from right in the middle of the living room. It wasn't until then that my head started working again, and I realized I needed to call the police right away. I opened up my phone, but immediately got another text. It read, "Come outside." The doorbell rang seconds later, making me completely freak out. I ran upstairs and locked myself in the bedroom and called the police. More and more texts came in, demanding me to go outside. They banged at the front door, and then it went quiet for a minute. No texts, no movement outside. Then I heard faint footsteps walking around the house. They got to the backyard and reached the patio, but then it went quiet again. It was silent all the way up until the police arrived. They searched the whole house, inside and out, but found nothing aside from a couple shoe prints. But they could have been anyone's, since the house had been viewed by a bunch of people before I moved in, and I hadn't had a chance to clean the floors yet. It really freaks me out, thinking about how I never heard them walk away. The most disturbing part, though, was that they were inside my house, taking pictures and everything, and I had no idea.
That's the part I was still on.
I've been living in the same house for almost a year now, and haven't encountered any more situations yet.
That's good.
But how would I even know? They could be stalking me right now without me even knowing it.
I thought somebody was gonna be at the door.
Hey,
Hey, that first one was trippy AF because the way it started off, it definitely sounded relatable, man. I was like, yeah, I remember moving into my spots with just a couple boxes. Don't need much to survive. But then it was like, nah, somebody living here. So the story went from funny to hella creepy. I do feel like it was someone just that was probably recently there since the home was vacant. I was thinking that as well. Doggy Bone moved in, so they had to dip up out of that mud. But hey, I'm about to go ahead and get up out of here and enjoy my day. You do the same thing. Enjoy your day, your morning, your evening, your night, whenever you're watching this video. But I'm out.